Greetings, thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Saturday, November 27, 2021. For today's editorial, Blocking Ressa Travel, a bad look for government. The Office of the Solicitor General or OSG this week filed a motion with the Court of Appeals opposing a petition by Maria Ressa, the controversial chief of the online news site Rappler, to be allowed to travel to Oslo, Norway next month to personally receive her Nobel Peace Prize. While the OSG is doing its job in the literal sense, it should exercise a bit of broader rational thinking and realize its opposition in this matter is doing more harm than good. Ressa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2021 along with the Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov for their efforts to safeguard freedom of expression, which is a precondition for democracy and lasting peace, according to the Norwegian Nobel Committee. Ressa is the first Filipino to be awarded a Nobel Prize for any category, and the award has been largely interpreted as a rebuke of perceived suppression and manipulation of the press under President Rodrigo Duterte and his administration. Ressa was convicted of libel in 2020 stemming from a 2012 article published by Rappler and is facing several other charges, including tax evasion. She is currently free on bail pending appeal of her libel conviction and has traveled abroad several times with the CA's permission, although the CA has also denied several of her requests to travel on grounds of lack of necessity. The OSG contended in its opposition to Ressa's planned travel to Norway that she is a flight risk due to her outstanding conviction and other pending cases. However, in approving another request for travel by Ressa at the end of October, the CA noted while Ressa's conviction charges her situation and warrants the exercise of greater caution in allowing her to leave the Philippines, her undisputed compliance with the conditions imposed by the court a quo on her previous travels shows that she is not a flight risk. This makes it very unlikely the CA would accept that argument from the OSG. The second argument by the OSG is that the trip to Oslo to receive the Nobel Award in person is not necessary, and her attendance at the event could be carried out by other means, such as through teleconferencing. That is indeed true, and the CA might agree. However, imposing that restriction would simply validate the narrative that the Philippines, particularly under President Duterte, is an oppressive environment for the press. That is the perception abroad, and while we believe it is a misperception, it is still damaging to the country and must be addressed. The OSG's arguments do not in any way effectively do that, and in fact, simply makes the perception worse. Reduced to its essential points, the message the government is now attempting to convey to the rest of the world is, we do not practice repression of the press, except when our institution give us justification for doing so. At best, that comes across as petty. At worst, it formally confirms the narrative being spread elsewhere, which could otherwise easily be proven false or at least thrown into question, that there is an organized institutional threat against freedom of expression here. On the other hand, if the OSG and the administration it represents would recognize the bigger picture, swallow their bile, and simply let Ressa have her moment, it would accomplish a great deal toward challenging the narrative. Allowing someone who is free on bail to attend an award ceremony is hardly the act of a repressive government. Doing so prevents the occasion from becoming an opportunity to paint the government in a bad light. As a practical matter, quietly allowing Ressa to go ahead minimizes public attention to her story or the controversial narrative behind it. A public figure receiving an award that was announced months ago in a quiet, dignified ceremony in some far-off place is a sidebar. A government trying to prevent that essentially innocuous event from happening is a headline. There is an old saying, one should not make martyrs of his enemies. It is a piece of advice the government ought to heed in this case. And that's the editorial for Saturday, November 27, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print. Subscribe to its digital edition or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram and listen to the Voice of the Times.